Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing. Welcome and thank you so very much for joining me. This is my Smash Our Stash process video. Smash Our Stash is a collab that has a theme every month. For May it was embellishments and stickers and ephemera and die cuts. And so I started out by using up some of these vinyl stickers on my school cards, and that's a separate video. I was just doing some embellishing here to use them up. On this video, you're going to see that I didn't stick to the collab the whole time as I was working and prepping. I went through things on the counter and I had scraps of paper and I would say, oh, I want to use this scrap. I want to use this card base that folds open in the center. I want to use this adorable scrap that one of you sent me. It is maybe the most beautiful thing ever. I just worked my way through the piles. I'm going to show you the different piles and how crazy they look. You can look at it with me and say, wow, what a mess. Many of you have commented that you like to see how I really work and real process videos. These are not structured tutorials, it's just what I'm doing. I'm digging through fun die cuts that Mary and some others sent me. I liked that happy birthday one. And then I have this blue paper that is not a color I love. I've talked about it in other videos, and I'm trying to figure out how to use it. And then I thought, okay, I like this happy birthday card. I'm going to make that. But I couldn't remember, when you go to open a card, are you going to open the left first or the right first? Does it matter? I don't know. I was going to glue it on the left side, and then in the end, I glued it on the right because I'm very right-handed. I don't know. I don't know what the proper way is, but I changed my mind a couple times. And I don't think it matters. It looks really cute. I put the paper behind it because I didn't want to glue it to the back if any oozed out, but a little did ooze out because I didn't put it quite far enough over. Super cute. I love it. Then I decided to mat it for a couple of reasons. A, I'm using things off the counter and there was a gray piece of paper. And B, these are pre-made card bases and they're a little thin. You can certainly make a card base that folds just like this. It's just a matter of remembering, right? It's a different layout and it folds different, but it's still an A2 size card, 5.5 by 4.25. Then we're back to the actual purpose of this collab. So I'm using the die cut for happy birthday, and then I used a ton of stars in this. I like stars. People give me stars. I save every star die that I run through, even if it's the positive or the negative, the tiny scraps. But they get to a point where the ones that are left aren't my favorite. There were some cute ones mixed in, but they just keep getting smaller and smaller. And what I did on these was I would go through, and if I picked something up, I was like, okay, could I use this or should it go? And I had a bag. I don't know if I show it to you, but I did have a bag where I was like, okay, I'm going to donate this. And when I say donate, I'm not going to give 3 extra stars to a thrift store. That's a burden to them. But I will put it on Facebook Marketplace in a giveaway bag for a family to do crafts with or make cards with. Especially in like the local neighborhood ones, so you don't have to go very far. Thrift stores don't want every little tiny thing. You have to think, could they make more than a penny if they sold this? The star piece that I'm fiddling with is foil. I think it was like from my friend Noni's Trash. And that was cute too, just a little tiny strip. And then I looked through my clusters. I was trying to find something. I was really trying to use up this blue background. And in the end, friends, I don't think I used it. The Fearless Joy, I decided I wanted in a journal, not on a card. And Love You, I didn't really want. I try to avoid making cards that I won't use. Do you catch yourself doing that where there's an ephemera piece or something and it's cute, but you never really thought about what it said? I will use a lot of cards that say joy, but I make them in spurts because I have a bunch of joy dies and joy stamps. So sometimes I get carried away. I failed to mention, this is a really long video, so you should have coffee or tea and your feet up. This was over the course of probably a week. Evenings, early mornings, I just played and went through the stuff on the counter. And some of the stuff that you see me touch and then not use we're going to come back. This paper, this gray and white, is textured, and I think to this day I still haven't used it. It just never seems to speak to me. And then I thought, oh, maybe a leaf. No, I wasn't feeling the leaves. The dahlias in there, it's a dahlia, and the petals, they're from my Pooh dahlias. And if you've been around for a while, you know about my Pooh Bear. And my friend Katie bought me these dahlia bulbs after she passed away. And we're gonna do something with those finally. But it'll be later in the video. So here, I don't know, maybe we came back later, maybe same day. I'm digging through the counter and I found these storage items that I purchased, and I didn't have a place to put my bigger dies. I have die cuts. I have some good ideas for small sentiments. That scrapbook, do you see it right there? The light blue with the green and like baby feet, because I never took the thing off. The thing was from Dollar Tree and I started filling it up. It's a little photo album. I don't love it for die cuts. If you get too many in there, they can get tangled and stuff. Then we stopped in the middle to make card bases, see? Because I didn't have any card bases, I couldn't use the stuff up. So I just made some in the middle. Just rolled with it, I told you. So anyway, die cuts, I started putting some of those in the clear plastic sleeves because you can fill up one of those little photo albums really, really fast. And I probably should have done themes and then labeled the front of them or something, because you can see that it's like open wide. That's because it's over full. Here we go. I'm fiddling with them again. And I'm working sort of at two sections. This part where I'm working right now is not where I normally film. It's farther down, the part that doesn't even usually show on the counter. Then I don't know why this piece of paper was out. Did one of you give this to me recently? And I was like, we're going to make an envelope. This is adorable. Again, not part of this collab, but I'm smashing our stash. I'm just not on the right theme for this month. I made an envelope. I just thought it was so cute. And I was like, this needs to be an envelope. Thin paper is wonderful for envelopes. You can use thick paper, but then you don't have to fight it. And I made it A2 size. You can write on these with a white pen, a silver Sharpie, or you can put a label on them. Don't be afraid to make an envelope that's super patterned or has dark colors. And I did learn that next time I should film you from the left because I'm very right-handed, so I block the camera a lot. And you're going to see me use two different scoreboards in this video. You probably already have, because the EK Tools one with the envelope thing, that one's mine. I've been having some troubles with my card bases. I couldn't figure out if it was my scoreboard or the user. But the EK Tools one, there's this little lip right there in the corner a little. And I think my card bases come out a little crooked sometimes. So I borrowed a Stampin' Up one from Noni and I was trying it. And I think they came out much straighter and I wasn't fiddling with them. I've used it for a long time and I never really thought about it. So I also was wondering if it was maybe the paper I purchased recently. This is random. They didn't come together, but they're amazing together. One of you sent me those gorgeous die cut borders with the stars, and then I had the scraps from the star paper. Again, the point of this is die cuts and embellishments, so this counts because I'm using one. Just using stuff together. Keep in mind, you don't have to go buy matching collections. You don't have to say, oh, I can't use this because I don't have the parts that go with it. Mix and match and look at your stuff and you'll find colors. I mean, this star paper and this star border, it's pretty much the exact same color. And I really like how this card turns out. And you'll see me flip between all kinds of different adhesive. And the reason that I put those cards on my cutter when I'm putting them together is I'm using the ridge at the bottom of the cutter and pushing the paper up against it. So it automatically lines up the card. If that's not clear, let me know and I'll show you sometime in an updates video or something else. That's why I work on my cutter. Also, I get adhesive on my cutters all the time and it just washes off because I use art glitter glue or Barely Art and they're water soluble. And I used the scrap on the inside. It was cute. Okay, look, counter. We can see counter. If you watch my channel, you know that we have already made significant progress. Now, the only problem is the stuff is spread out to the right. but we're getting there. And I'm identifying things. Okay, so what I'm doing is putting together little groupings. Like that way, if Mr. Crafting and Relaxing calls me and says, hey, come watch TV. You know how you have those shows you watch with someone you live with, and then you have your own shows? That's why I do a lot of TV crafting kits and stuff, because some shows, if they're on, I'm going. I don't want to miss it. I had it in my brain that I was going to use this scrap in this thing, and it was barely big enough. So I fiddled with it. But normally it's doable. I just cut a whole bunch of scraps and put them in that clear box. I didn't actually use them, but they'll be great for creating an embellishment cluster on. I could use them for the butterfly journals or something, maybe cards. They might be a little small for butterfly journals. And here I'm tearing off pieces and I'm throwing them away, or I'm putting them in the donate. And then I found these die cuts that Mary sent me, and I loved them. I loved them when she sent them to me. I think they just got buried in there. So here we are. We're going to use some die cuts up, and I'm impressed. And then what I'm trying to do and think about is, how many flowers do I have? How many cards should I make? Mr. Crafting and Relaxing makes fun of me because I will drag everything out and make one card. Common sense says if you have everything out and you have enough supplies, or you have the stamp and you're going to use it anyway and wash it later, make more than one. But I don't like to make 2 cards exactly the same. I just can't. It's not in my DNA, I don't think. And in this situation, Mary sent me a variety of stuff anyway, so I could mix and match and have a great time. And she has leaves in there and these gorgeous cone flowers. So I'm laying them out. One birthday card, because I found a happy birthday die cut, and then one that we don't know what it is yet, but we're going to look. Oh, it's going to be joy, because it fits and the colors match. And when you challenge yourself to use what's in a box someone gave you, or a bag of your friend's trash, remember that was a journal I made, it really can push you to do things you wouldn't normally do, or mix and match, or try a different technique. So I have these. I went and sat on the deck. It happened to be a nice day. It was like 70 and I had a chair out there. I don't have a deck cover. So Mr. Crafting and Relaxing carries a chair out for me on the days that are nice. We've had 2 days where he carried out a chair and they weren't even consecutive. And then you have to put them away because it rains. And I sat on the deck and I glued them together, and then I came back inside. And when I have my deck cover again, I do craft on the deck. Am I the only one? Look at these. How cute are these? Mary, I hope you're watching this because I absolutely love these. Oh, you probably already saw the process or the Smash Our Stash video. I didn't get to tell you specifically in there how much I appreciate them and how cute they are. And you have got to see what I did with the other flowers too. Oh, but that was in the video. You've seen it all. I don't even know why you guys like the process videos. One thing I will say about process videos that I like is you see the different steps that go into things and dimensions and layers that sometimes don't show in a final video. Okay, Mary sent me a whole bunch of these big birthday wishes in different colors. And last time it was like free choice and I worked on the counter. I had a couple left. So I'm putting one together and I'm showing you how I do it. If you have words and you're trying to get the letters straight and they're all loose, keep the outside and use it as a template to put them together. This works for, I don't know what else I have. Happy birthday, joy. I can usually get 3 letters pretty straight, but you never know. I showed you the first couple letters and then I just did the rest. I don't think you needed to see them all in slow motion kind of thing. And then I layered it with gray just to add another bit of dimension, and gray was already handy. And I love my ATG gun. I probably should have spent the money on a blue one, but the pink one was like $20 with adhesive, and I'm frugal, so I thought that was good. And it's great. But if you don't make a ton of cards, you don't need one. You can use wet adhesive. You could use double-sided tape. You can use whatever you like. This is the card base that just fought me and would not die forever and ever. And I was bound and determined to use this. This video for me was not about die cutting a bunch of stuff or creating new stuff. It was about using what I have and literally smashing my stash. I'm so sorry, you guys. My allergies are terrible. We had a 70-degree day here, and then we've had a couple of days of rain, and that combination is just a lot. And my mom's dying too. She was asking if it was just her. My goal was to use stuff up. We can always, as YouTubers, show you the latest and greatest products. If you watch me, you know that that's not always my love. I mean, I do like new stuff, but I really like to use things up, and some of the oldies but goodies are my favorites, like basic gray paper. It's just fun to see what you can make. Look at that with the little swoosh inside. Isn't it so cute? Those are die cuts that you guys sent me in Happy Mail. This red card base has been sitting around forever. And I love red, black, and white. I think it was just so busy. See, that's my little photo album that's just chock full. In the beginning, I started it. It was sentiments. They were in alphabetical order, and it made sense. Then you guys sent me more stuff. I put it in there. I die cut more. I mixed and matched. There's no alphabet. There's cats here and there. It's a circus. But every once in a while you flip through it and you find something fun like this. Be happy. It drives people crazy. And I thought this easy to read, fairly large sentiment was kind of a calming effect on this card. Then I tried to put it with a cat and it didn't really fit. It wasn't going to work for me, but I did try. I should have layered it on black or something to kind of ground it and make it a little more interesting. But, you know, at some point you're just like, that's good. Ship it. I cleaned off the counter. Did you see that? Were you impressed? Okay, I just tidied up the clusters in that little tray and put a little jar. So I just keep reconsolidating and tidying. I have noticed I really, really, really enjoy buying postage stamps. I don't use them that much. So I need to maybe stop buying them and start using more of them. So we'll see if they show up in butterfly journals. That might be a Smash Our Stash theme where postage stamps should be added on 1 month. Most people wouldn't have enough to just use postage stamps, but we could add it. The tree background that we're using right now was trash from my friend Noni, and there were a whole bunch of them another month when I made these, and that one was still sitting around. We are cleaning out a box that was just as much as I could possibly fit in it months ago, and then I had thinned it, and then I had not touched it since the last time I worked on it in Smash Our Stash. And that little blue border that I'm gluing together, I have no plan. I'm just working on it. That white tag didn't have a hole in it. I knew that would annoy me when I went to use it. Look, you can see the counter. Are you impressed? Every time I see this counter, I think I tried to buy the gray one, but they didn't have it in stock or they couldn't find it. Then I would be a little more stylish, wouldn't I? Okay, super cute. Happy birthday. I like this because it could be masculine. It kind of has this weird gold paper, copper. It's a little copperish, I think. I won't put any bling or anything, and I think it works for all ages. Also, I'm in the Pacific Northwest. Evergreen trees are a really big deal here. When I go other places, I don't know how you guys survive. I'm not sure I can live in a place that doesn't have big trees. And I mean big trees. If you haven't watched like the video of my neighborhood or something, you would understand what I'm talking about. Here, I made some more bases. I can't remember for the life of me right now why I made cream ones. I couldn't Smash Our Stash because there just weren't bases. Okay, this is why. We had some antique coloring stuff on here. You know, not white, and I wanted a base to go with. I didn't end up using those adorable animals. Mary sent me those. She gave me the stamp set too. Are you guys terrified by the amount of dog hair on my shirt? Don't worry. That's what happens when you share a craft room with Wilson. Plus, I hug him a lot. Okay, so this piece of paper was another example. It was coffee or tea dyed. It was sitting on the counter. It bothered me. I should have stamped it before I put it on there, but, you know, be brave. Just go for it sometimes. This was, do you guys remember this? Oh my gosh. About 100 months ago, probably, I went to the thrift store, the one that's like half a mile from me, and I bought a piano roll, and I brought it home, and that was the very end of it. I think it was already torn off, so it wouldn't have worked on a piano, and it was in the box, and I just thought it was so cool. It's like a little metal grommet, has a fancy stamp, and it's vintagey looking paper. I have moved it around on my counter, in and out of different containers, and never used it. And I just couldn't take it anymore, so I went for it. And the thanks was kind of a weird color palette. Be trying to figure out how to use this time of year. So I don't know. Maybe I'll give this to a man who likes music or something. Most people aren't going to know what that is anyway. It was cool. And sometimes, have you seen those challenges where you just mail random junk to people and then they have to figure out how to make an art journal page or something with it? Well, my whole counter is one of those. I don't need to. I almost joined one of those and then I was like, no, I do not need to do that. I had a whole bunch of those black sentiment things from a creative reuse place. I like it. I should have put it down below, I think, but it's okay. It works. This blue border thing that I made during this video, I changed my mind about it. I peeled off something that I put in the middle and I decided I was going to use it on a card. Oh, there you go. You can change your mind. You're the crafter. Do whatever you want. Have fun. You also, no matter what anyone tells you, you have the right to throw scraps away or to say, I don't like this paper. It's ugly. I'm not going to use it. Which is why I give a lot of stuff away. I love blue mirror paper. If you don't have mirror paper in your favorite color, you probably should have some. It brings me joy for sure. And I can make tons of blue things because I have so much blue on the counter. Okay, that blue piece of paper that was driving me nuts, I think that's that Stampin' Up! Blue that I don't like. I just decided to use it as scrap paper to layer behind there to lift that up so I didn't have a weird ridge. That is in the end what I used it for. Then I put that little tiny cute scrap inside. On the counter in front of me, right there on my left, there's a Happy Mother's Day die cut. And as part of this collab, I was like, I'm definitely going to use up that die cut and I'm going to make my Mother's Day card. My mom likes quilts, so I decided I was going to borrow Noni's quilt die, which I don't remember if I've ever made one for my mom. I can't remember if I've used this. And here I am die cutting in the middle of a collab where you're supposed to be using die cuts. That's okay. If you're having fun and it gives you inspiration, it's okay. Normal people don't make a process video and show you the background, but that's just me. This die, watch me do this. This would be a great example of where you should use dryer sheets. Okay, I should have laid a dryer sheet down. And the first one, I didn't really think about it. The second one, I was like, maybe I should get a dryer sheet. About now, I'm thinking that. I think, no, it's probably fine. Then I poke the whole thing out and think, why didn't I get the dryer sheet? And then by the third one, I still didn't walk over and get it. And it was tedious. So dryer sheets pull the paper off of the die so that you don't have to do poke, 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 poke. I mean, this thing has 20, 30 pieces on it? It's a lot. That's how you use dryer sheets. It doesn't make it cut better. It makes the paper come out of the die. Sometimes you'll hear us talking about metal plates for your die cutter or dryer sheets, and you don't necessarily know when to use them. The metal plate is for a die that doesn't cut well. This die cuts beautifully, but I used pretty thick paper in it, and by the end I was a little bit not having fun with it. Okay, I'm making a TV box right here. That's what we're doing. It has the dies, it has paper I'm going to mount them on. Then I think, okay, what else do I need? I need some adhesive. I need a pokey tool. There we go. And then that goes away on the other side of the room for a TV box. And then I come back later and it's like magic. So you'll hear me talk about tedious things and how I won't do them. This is not a fast process. Okay, I could not see that die on top of the quilt. Could you? What if it was a different color? The Father's Day one is in black. Would that have worked? As you saw in the finished card, I put it on the inside. But anyway, if you have some things like this where you just know it's going to take you forever, don't sit in a room by yourself and do it. Do it at the dining room table while you're chatting with friends. I've been known to take paper and chop it up at friends' houses. When people meet me, I'm sure they think I'm a little bit crazy, but it's okay. I'm using up the stars, and I went back to the school cards and pulled some of those out because I had so much yellow and orange and white, and I thought, these are kind of weird colors. I think the yellow was from Noni, maybe when she cut something to make a card for me. It was a die with 1,000,000 little stars. So I have 1,000,000 little stars, and I'm going to be honest with you, I threw out the tiniest ones, and it was kind of warm in my room, and the glue was coming out a little fast. In a situation like this, you do not have to squeeze the bottle. You just literally tip it over, touch the paper, you're done. If your glue is fountaining, you'll know it when you see it. The room is probably a little warm, and if you can, unscrew the bottle and get the air balanced out a little bit. And I have tested a lot of glues, and I like the art glitter glue because it dries very matte. The tip on the Barely Arts bottle is amazing, but the art glitter glue dries the least shiny, I think. Now, that being said, if I cleaned any of my bottles and took care of them, I might love them. And I've never had a brand new art glitter glue bottle next to a brand new Barely Arts. Too much glue, a little too warm. Okay, so I did put those tiny ones back in there, but I may have thrown them out by now, or I just know that they need to go. I've done this in other videos. This is not my idea. You take a piece of paper. I usually use a solid color, but I'm an accounting nerd, so ledger paper is fun to me. And glue your tiny scraps on there. You can use scraps of yarn, scraps of thread, whatever. Things that you might throw away otherwise. And then sew on the whole thing. And if you don't have a sewing machine, that's okay. Don't sew on it. I am using up the last of those circle stickers that we started this video with. And one random iridescent star sticker that was sitting on the counter. It was very cute, but it just needed to be used. I don't know how I got left with one. Now I have found some gorgeous blue colored flowers, blue and yellow, Cheryl, look at those, that Mary sent me. Again, these are gorgeous. Why were they sitting around? They just got buried. So I decided to build a card. I thought it was going to be one, but she sent me 3, and I decided it really was 2 cards. And these happy birthday die cuts were in my die cut box and light blue, so that's what we're going with, and that's why I picked the yellow background. And just to really mix it up. And you'll notice the reason the yellow paper repeats in several different cards is I didn't want to spend a lot of time looking for things. I wanted to get stuff done. I wasn't going to go search for the absolute perfect paper from my stash. It did turn out pretty cute though. And the last thing I wanted to do was pull out 10 different paper packs looking. Look at this. Can you see the counter? Oh my gosh. On this one, I was thinking that I would put a sentiment down below. There is room for my small happy birthday die cut. I could stamp there. In the end, I decided to leave it blank and give it to my mom that way. Because she likes blank cards, so she might like that. And I don't really make any that don't have any sentiment. Okay, I looked at this. I couldn't do it. White space is great. That was too much white space for me. And then I found this paper. Well, I started looking around. I was like, oh, I need some blue and yellow or something. Chris Cuts Paper on Instagram. She sent me an amazing Happy Mail. If you guys haven't seen it, having a Happy Mail that's completely curated for you and you can tell that someone knows your style. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. And I still owe her a thank you. I'm terrible. But I am catching up on my outbound mail, so. Okay, this is a cute little embellishment. It was in something that I think Mary gave me, and it said "for you" on it. And I hadn't used it because it said that. So I took a speck of fabric and the smallest butterfly I have and covered it up. Look at this. We are getting down to it. Now see that container right there of die cuts? There's a bunch of cute stuff in there, and some of it's really old, and I didn't go through all of those. But I mean, we used a ton of stuff. This card background, I made this sometime traveling, you guys. This card background is pre-COVID, I bet you. I mean, it's crazy old, or maybe from a Garth trip. I don't know, but it's been around a while and I've tried to use it and it gave me trouble. And finally I was like, oh, I'm going to put a dahlia on it. So it was just fun. And there wasn't any logic to that background and that dahlia, except they were both on the counter and they needed to be used. And I didn't realize how many petals I had because I hadn't dug through the container. So I probably would have put them a little closer, but that's okay. And then I'm gluing some bits on the cluster thing. And just trying to put bits and bobs. That's my little yarn jar. And then I was like, oh, I need some stuff out of it. Somebody gave me that idea. I'm clearly working my way to a quart jar. I think it is Cheryl that told me about that. At first I had a tiny jar and then I made it bigger. I like it. I also have a spool of thread. Can you see it in there? There's a spool of thread that hardly has anything on it. And I just shoved it in there one day. That might be another Smash Our Stash theme I should work on. I should write this stuff down. Postage stamps and threads. Look, it's super cute. But then I changed my mind, of course. And I wanted the Pooh Bear Dahlia to be, I didn't want it to be just a card I threw together. So then I started circling back and I thought, okay, what if I trim it and mat it? Because every once in a while, I mean, there's no rule that you have to layer all your cards, right? That's not a rule. The people don't get them and go, you know, this really would have looked better with another layer of cardstock. They just don't. But honestly, this card is sitting on my counter. I probably won't mail it for months. And if I do, I'll probably have to put it in a box. I think I talked about that because I don't think it'll mail well. But it makes me happy. And it's a Pooh Bear reminder. And it's way better than when it was just sitting in the box for a year. Had to be at least a year, right? The dahlias haven't started. Look at this. I mean, you did get to see it. Okay, the Happy Father's Day, I didn't use that yet. But I'm still ahead of the curve on that one, so I think I'm okay. So it has like an orangey and a yellow layer down there. And look at it. It just pops. And I took my bone folder and like stabbed it in to get the glue. Okay, then I wanted to back out and let you see a little, just give you the different perspective. And if you watch my video, you know this is good. We are doing great work, and I finally went through that giant tub on the end. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.